Hi good people, welcome to my channel. This is your girl Pheladi.mangwale. I am a qualified educator teaching in Limpopo province. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do subscribe. Please do turn on that notification button. If you are new to my channel, whoops, you're welcome. Thank you so much for subscribing. I hope that you're definitely gonna enjoy more videos that I'm gonna upload. So without wasting any more time, let's get to the business of the day. As you can see, the title of my video is how to prepare for teaching interviews. This is absolutely a video request from one of my fans, Halala. Thank you so much for suggesting this. I figured it is really important. A lot of people go for teaching interviews without anybody preparing them. So these are just tips, these are just advices, these are just some of the things or some of the possible questions I know you're definitely gonna get when you go for an interview. And I hope that you guys are gonna get this on time before you go for your interview. I hope that you guys are gonna find this helpful. Yeah, you know I always plug you guys. You know that I always share whatever that I know with you guys. So I really hope you find this useful so that you don't go through what other people went through, you know, going to an interview without any clue. So let's get right into it. Okay guys, so I'm going to be helping you on post level 1. Yes, post level 1 possible questions, right? And I'm gonna be giving an example and trying to elaborate where possible. I'm not saying that they're going to ask you everything exactly the way I'm giving to you, but this is a guideline. You know, this is the kind of questions that they ask, you know, the structure of the questions, and then you will have to do more research on the possible answers and, you know, some of the questions that they may ask you, you know. So yes, I'm not talking about other post levels. I'm talking about entry level, which is post level 1. This is the entry level for education profession, right? So this is where you haven't got a promotion yet. It's the entry level, right? I hope you get what I'm saying. So I wrote a couple of things on my other phone, so just so that I don't forget some of the dimensions that I'm going to be talking about. So guys, I'm going to start with tips, normal tips for just an interview, right? As you all know, when you go for an interview, you have to look or dress well, right? My advice to you would be go for simplicity. Go for 2-color combination clothing. You know, avoid all these colors. You know, avoid, you know, wearing things that are going to expose your body. So that is just my advice, so that you will look, you know, appropriate. And then another tip would be that once you see the advert, the post, right, and you see that the location is actually far from you, you know, do a research to see if that place is too far from where you are staying, because if it is too far, then you'd have to sleep near that area. Let's say you in Gauteng and you applied for a post in Limpopo. So just by mere fact of the location, you know, the direction, it's too far already. So that means you'll have to be there the day before. Otherwise, yeah, you'll just be ruining your chances of, you know, being on time. So rather do your research on time. Try to see if you can sleep at the near lodge. If it is too expensive for you, try to see if you can connect people on time and sleep near the school, so that you will make it on time. You don't want to be late for your interview. You don't want to be running, you know, all exhausted before you even start with your interview. That is just too bad for you. No matter how much you have prepared to answer the questions, already you'll be setting yourself for a failure. So that is my tip. Another thing, if you are a prayerful person, if you believe in God Almighty, please pray. Ask God to give you wisdom. Ask God to give you confidence. Ask God to remove fear away from you, because some people get into an interview and the moment they get there, they get to have this fear that they're unable to even answer questions. So ask for God to give you confidence. Ask Him to give you, the spirit of fearlessness. I believe that God is powerful. I believe that God can open doors for you. So pray and affirm yourself. Believe that this is your opportunity. Remember, you're not the only person that applied for the job, And before you can even apply, pray that you get shortlisted in the first place, because there are a lot of applications that go through, and you'd find that they're only shortlisting 5 people out of 20 people that had applied for that job. So pray that you even make it to the shortlisting process, right? So if you are a prayerful person, I don't care what you believe in, but whatever that you believe is above you, do it. Pray, Pray. Don't underestimate the power of prayer, guys. Affirm yourself. Believe that this is yours. This is your opportunity. You grabbing it. You taking it. When you go into that school on that day, imagine yourself in that school already. That is part of having faith, right? Okay, I don't want to be wasting more time. Let me get to the business of the day. Okay, so let's say you see an advert. They're looking for a teacher who's going to teach English first additional language from grade 7, or let's say from grade 5 to grade 7, or maybe they stated 2 subjects and you are eligible to apply. When I say eligible to apply, I mean that if they're talking about grade 4 to grade 6, you already know that is because you did intermediate phase or intermediate and senior phase, right? So you can already see that I can apply for this job. Or maybe you have the subjects that are mentioned, right? So that makes you a relevant person to apply already. So what you're going to do is you're going to check what is needed from you, right? So if they need your CV, if they need your qualifications, your matric certificates, certified, they need all these things, testimonials, if it is mentioned, make sure that you pack your things in the order in which they are written on the document. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. Just make sure that everything that is stated there, you definitely have it, and it is packed in the order in which it is mentioned on the document or on the advert. Do you get what I'm saying? So now let's get to the possible questions. You guys know that in each and every interview they may ask you to talk about yourself, right? With teaching, it's not always the case. Sometimes they would. So just prepare that, prepare to ask to talk about yourself and to talk about why you think you are the best candidate for the job, right? It's not one of the questions that I'm going to talk about, but sometimes they may ask you, so please prepare to talk about yourself. I don't think it's difficult to talk about yourself. I mean, you're selling yourself, right? You telling them why you think you're the best amongst all the people that are in the room. So this is a competition, girl. Up your game, talk about yourself, talk about what you can do, talk about your achievements, what you think you can make a difference with in the school, right? You need to convince them. They don't know you, they don't know your skills, they don't know what you can offer. So talk, tell them what's new that you can bring to the table, or what you think lacks that you can make sure that, it's possible, it's happening in the school. Right, so please guys, sell yourself. Okay, now that I'm done giving you guys advices and some of the tips you may need when you are applying, I think we should get straight to the point. Okay, so there are 6 dimensions that every educator should definitely know about. You did some of this when you were doing your qualification, whether your degree or your diploma. You definitely did them. So these are the dimensions that you as an educator, you expected to know about. So you expected to know what is happening with the subjects, what is happening with administration, what is happening with the curriculum, with parents, everything that is happening in the school. You are supposed to know them, and these are definitely what they're going to be asking you about. Nothing new, but what you definitely supposed to know as a qualified educator or a professional teacher. I'll start with number one, which is the first dimension that they're definitely going to ask you about. It is the knowledge of the learning area or subjects. So with the knowledge of learning area or subjects, they're definitely going to ask you questions with regards to the subject that you have applied for. I'll still go back to the example that I gave earlier about an advert that wants an educator that can teach English first additional language, and maybe let's say together with creative arts, right? So they're gonna ask you questions about the two learning areas. Sometimes they may ask you about one of them, but you have to best prepare for both of them. Show that you have knowledge in those two subjects. Show that you have knowledge when it comes to those two subjects. Isn't it that there are two subjects that you actually majored in? Let me give a possible question as well on that area. Let's say, for example, they ask you how you are best going to teach listening and speaking. Isn't it that it's English first additional language, and there is a concept of listening and speaking in first additional language? So let's say they ask you how you're going to teach it, right? So number two would be knowledge of assessment techniques and application. So they may ask you about the types of assessment. Like I said, guys, you did this in school, all those types of assessments and how you're going to apply them, right? So that means you'll have to know how each and every assessment is applied. You have to know the tools of assessments as well. How are you going to assess your learners? All those tools the possible tools that you can use as well when you assess learners. Isn't it that there are types of assessments, depending on what you want to assess, right? So you need to familiarize yourself with them. Okay, so number three will be classroom management. They may ask you how you're going to deal with a disruptive learner or learner that has behavioral problems. How are you going to deal with them, right? Here's the learner is in your class and they are always disruptive. Now, how are you going to deal with them? How are you going to ensure that they don't disrupt other learners or your lessons anymore? Number 4 on my list is administration. It is one of the dimensions. You guys know that every department has administrative duties, right? So you as an educator, what are some of your administrative duties that you have to do? Maybe daily. So for example, some of the duties that a class teacher has to do on daily basis is the marking of the register, right? So it's an administrative duty. You have to do it each day. So they may also ask you about the administration documents that you have to use as an educator, which may be some of the record sheets, marking sheets, the policy documents and all that. And then also some of the administration duties that you have to do as a class educator is learner profiles. You have to fill them out all the time. So those are some of the administration tools or documents that you're going to be working with, support forms, all those things. So number 5 dimension is communication. They may ask you the communication channels or protocols. Like for example, they may ask you who is the first person you're going to inform when you are absent from work or when you are running late to school, right? So you cannot just wake up and sit without letting anybody know that you're not coming. You cannot tell your colleague who is your friend that you're not coming. There are the right protocols that you should use, So the first channel of communication would be your supervisor or your head of department. and then they will take it up with the deputy, and then the deputy will take it up with the principal. But remember, when you get to each and every school, there are ways that they work, but this is the right channel, right? So this is how you should explain it, or you can explain it however way. So basically, with communication, they're definitely gonna be asking you anything that is related to how you're gonna follow protocols with communication wise, right? And then number 6 dimension is stakeholder relations, right? So when we talk about stakeholders, we're talking about Department of Health, maybe it could be a local clinic. We're talking about the police services. We're talking about psychologists or social workers. We're talking about pastoral care, you know, all these people that can assist the learners and the educators or the school as a whole, right? Maybe they may ask you an example of what would you do if you have a learner in your class that is sexually abused, right? So you wouldn't just wake up and call a psychologist to come to your school and help that child, you know. It goes back to the communication protocol. You don't do that. There's a certain procedure that you should follow, right? One of those procedures would be talking to your supervisor first, or your head of department, and then they will take it up with the relevant committee. Or maybe you can approach the chairperson of the relevant committee. Maybe you guys have well-being committee, or you have SBST, which also deals with this kind of matters. So you can take it up with them, and they will follow the right protocols, fill in the right documents, and then invite a social worker or a psychologist to attend to that matter. So that's it from me, guys. I hope I'm not leaving anything out. If you do have questions, please write in the comment section. You can use my email as well. I do have people who email me, those who have questions, and I still find it as a good communication. And then I also have people who follow me on Instagram. They direct their questions on my Instagram page as well. Not necessarily a page, but my inbox. Yeah, so you can also follow me on TikTok as well. Yeah, if you open my description box, you will find all social media platforms that you can follow me. So thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. Thank you so much for tolerating the level of noise that is around me. Thank you so much. I hope you're going to find this relevant. I wish you all the best. I wish you get the job as well. Yeah, if you have something to comment on, if you have something to add on, please comment in the section box below. That's it from me, Pheladi. I'll see you next time, guys. Mwah. All I want,